Welcome to my garden, to the GinGee GoodEarth show. I welcome you today, and today's a special program because I've been away for so long. I think with the election and work and family affairs, I have been overridden and overrun with worry, and I'm sure most of you have been also worried too. I'm giving you a little video presentation of my stage set, which goes over international dolls of the world. And here we have an Amish gentleman, and we have another Amish gentleman. And when I attended school at Westminster College, I had many friends that were Amish because Westminster College was located in New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, and the Amish lived there. And I wanted to do a read on the Amish. Now I'm going to put my video camera down. And just to introduce to you that today is a very fall day of November 10th. And I want to put the video, focus on the, video page so that you could see the picture show. But let's get started. Welcome to the GinGee GoodEarth program, part 21. GinGee GoodEarth is your director, Ginger Lily, for the American peoples and the international peoples of the earth. Today is 11/10, USA. Take love. And again, I welcome you. It's been real hectic for me because I'm a part of the Jelly Belly Jelly Bean National Contest, where there are 50 individuals who paid for a ticket to solve riddles to find the very famous gold ticket army tag in a secret location. And the only way that you could find this gold ticket with the code on it was to solve the riddle. So the past 2 days I've been in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I was 20 minutes away from other contestants looking for this gold ticket in different parks and so forth, and it was located in Bath, Pennsylvania Park. And congratulations to the winners. And again, now all 50 states are still in the agenda for finding the gold ticket from their state. I'd say about 20 states have found their golden tag tickets, and they win $5,000 per find. And then all the individuals that are a part of the Jelly Belly Jelly Bean contest can win a grand prize, which is a candy factory in Florida. So if you want more details, look up the gold ticket on Facebook or YouTube and join in on the fun. And so I have been so busy. I thought the fall I'd have more time to do programming. And again, in the month of October, Third Phase of Moon interviewed me at their very first live program on Third Phase of Moon, and with the Cousin Brothers on UFO sightings and occurrences and UFO history. It's a wonderful program, and after I saw the most exquisite 6 razzle-dazzle moving in a circular fashion in the colors of tangerine pink gold, boy was that pretty. I never saw anything spectacular. So a lot of people have said to me that I had witnessed something that other millions of people would love to see in God's works of this world, and I like to share that with you right now. Now, this program is a special program because I also have a picture of Jinn and also a spacecraft, and it's in the pictures on this picture show. I said I would put it on, and I'm sorry for the delay because it's actually a month delay. There's the birth of Venus, and I did that charcoal drawing, and she's drinking a cup of tea. On the cup it says tea and sympathy. And so I have some lovely pictures to share in the GinGee GoodEarth program. The aim is to, cultivate you, educate, amuse, enrich, civility, nice matters, and it's always fun-filled here. And the topics are variable. And again, I direct the Pittsburgh Victorian Gibson Girls, and we do have an audition in London in the near future. And I also direct Jopa Music Festival, and I've been on the program board of directors at the Alikiski Valley for over 10 years, and I enjoy people, life, and sharing all the wonderful, beautiful things that make up this world we called Earth with a capital T. But without further ado, you keep watching the picture show, and in the comments you can tell me when you see the Jinn creature. It's like a raccoon type standing upright creature with a spaceship corner on the edge of the left side frame of the picture show. So I'm hoping I can see it with you so I can go hip hip hooray. The picture show is on a loop, so it's definitely in this round of pictures, but there's over 1,000 pictures, but I'm hoping that we spot it today. And I wanted to read information on the Amish, and again, it's the fall season, and I have this beautiful Amish woman in her cultural attire, and she's next to the American flag above the American themed character. And I want to go ahead and get started. And again, this is the GinGee GoodEarth show, and let's read all about the Amish. The name Amish was derived from the name of Jacob Ammon, a native of Switzerland. He was a Mennonite preacher of the 17th century. He was a Mennonite preacher of the 17th century. He parted from the Mennonite faith thinking that they were too worldly. His followers, the Amish, came to America about 1717. Some say 1737, settled in Lancaster County, and still carry out customs, standards, and garb that he advocated. And again, Mennonite farming families and agriculture in the state of Pennsylvania, it is the #1 industry in the state of Pennsylvania. And thank goodness for that, because we love our Pennsylvania produce and food products that are made right here in Pennsylvania. So in 1737, between 1717 and 1737, settled in Lancaster County and still carry out customs, standards, and garb that he advocated. They are very prosperous farmers, living on farms that have been in the same family for generations. Charity is a religious duty. Their members are never allowed to become public charges. They hold their religious services in their homes or in their barns. There is another group of Amish who have meeting houses very much on the order of Quaker meeting rooms or meeting houses. The old order will not wear buttons on their clothing, consider them a vanity. This is a throwback to the first buttons used, which were entirely ornamental and at that early date banned by the Amish. They do not have musical instruments in their homes or places of worship, no telephones, electricity, window curtains compromised with bright blue window shades, pictures, rugs, nor anything too modern. There's an Amish sign. That's an Amish hex sign, and it says love on it. So the Amish were artists, of course, and there you have the Amish sign. Came up just the appropriate time while I'm reading this. Anything that was too modern in the line of farm implements was not allowed, but they do have beautiful, fast-stepping horses in which they take great pride. The young men and girls ride in buggies without tops, rain or shine, and the married folks and little children ride in narrow-built covered wagons. Somewhat of the old type, rural mail carriers, carts. In mild weather, the rear curtain is rolled to the top, and from 2 to 6 little bonnets and broad-brimmed hats will bob out at you as your car passes the horse and buggy carriage. Some of the faces under these hats and bonnets are very beautiful, with the delicate beauty of old miniatures of children. 10 children to a family is only average. They have no dashboards on either of these conveyances, but do have burlap curtain hanging from the shafts to front of the cart to catch the mud spatter. All the men and boys wear long bobbed hair, bangs in front and chopped off straight in back on a level with the jawline. The young men are clean shaven until they marry, then must grow beards, but a mustache is not permitted for some strange reason. Their religious belief forbids them to enter military service, to take oath, to infant baptism, the only baptized adults. Theologically, training is banned. Their ministers and deacons are not allowed to draw a salary and are chosen from the congregation. Higher education is frowned upon, believing it takes people away from the simple things. So they select ministers by lot. A number of candidates are called upon, each presented with a Bible. One Bible contains a slip of paper. The one drawing the slip must serve. The children dress exactly like their fathers and their mothers. Babies from birth wear red and blue and purple dresses and blacker colored bonnets and little aprons. The taking of photographs is particularly frowned upon as a vanity and also as creating an image. The language used is Pennsylvania Dutch in its broadest form. They live secluded lives, coming into town only to trade at market and the stores. They do not mix with worldly people. It is their aim and desire to raise their children to preserve all the old religious beliefs and customs, just as they were hundreds of years ago. So that's the interesting facts about the Amish, and they're hardworking people. And I have met many Amish because I lived in a community where the Amish lived. And they have great history and tradition. And they also have great wood type products and furniture. They have great blacksmithing products that you can buy. Also, Their shoe fly pie is one of the best pies in the world, but they're also great cooks because they cook at home. They don't go to restaurants. And so they have to learn how to be great cooks and farmers. And they're hardworking people. They wake up early every morning and have to work the farm, which does take a lot of great efforts. This picture is of the Caribbean or the Bahamas. So you'll see lots of great pictures. Now, I wanted to go back. This is going to be a long program, and I wanted to talk about the airline industry. And because I had talked about it in one of my videos, and I talked about, numbers of flights, but I'm just going to read the article. Pittsburgh International Airport, this article came out on their air travel Pittsburgh Airport. Since the airline industries were shut down during the pandemic that started March 11th, here in Pennsylvania we've had beautiful crystal blue azure skies without any chemtrails or any kind of, back fumes off of airplanes. It used to be that every morning you'd wake up and you'd see a blue crystal sky when the sun was shining that day, and then around 10 o'clock it would fog right up because of all the air traffic of airplanes emitting their exhaust systems. But we also have planes that deliver chemtrails of pollutants that harm our health. And I have a picture of the chemtrail plane. It's not a passenger plane, and it rides up there just spreading out white plumes of exhaust, and it's also in this picture show. Hopefully you'll catch it. But since the airline industry closed down March 11th, we haven't had that. But about, I guess, June, when the airline industry started to make a comeback, it's still not as great in numbers of flights. And that's what I want to read about. And this was, let's see if I can, August 5th, 2020 is when I read this article. Big three carriers, big three airline carriers, Americn, United, and Delta, operated flights to hundreds of international destinations before the pandemic. In July of 2019, roughly 5,000 international flights operated out of United States airport daily. So 5,000 international flights operated out of United States airports daily. Today, that number is down more than 80%, sitting below 900 daily flights. The reality is that international traffic is a fraction of what it used to be, said Nicholas Merman, a Dallas-based aviation consultant. Of U.S. carriers, the big three, Americn, United, and Delta, have been hit hardest by the decline. International destinations make up significant portions of their networks. Last year, United flew to approximately 275 international destinations, about 26% of its total destinations served. In July, the Chicago-based carrier flew to fewer than 60 of those destinations, with the majority of international flights operating in and out of Latin America. American Airlines, the world's largest airline, served more than 300 international destinations in 2019. The Fort Worth, Texas-based carrier international flights account for 26% of its entire network of more than 1,200 destinations. In July, Americn flew to roughly only 70 international destinations. Delta flew to about 40 of its international destinations in July of this year, but last year it operated more than 260 international routes. Okay, so Delta had 260 international routes. American Airlines had 300 international destination routes, and United had 275 international destination routes. If you compare to where we were last year, it's nothing, said Brett Snyder, editor of the Cranky Flyer aviation blog. Though the routes don't make up the majority of American, United, and Delta networks, the drop in international flying remains significant. It's a huge deal, explained Snyder. You have to remember that international fares are much higher than domestic flights, so you're talking about a bigger piece of the revenue pie. With international travel, there's a lot of high-dollar business class travel and big money that you just don't see on domestic flights. Data provided by the trade group Airlines for America shows that the drop in travel demand caused U.S. airlines to burn about $10 billion per month in March, a figure that is now around $5 billion. Because of the drop in passenger traffic for both international and domestic routes, American, Delta, and United are among a number of carriers that are expected to downsize their networks and overall operations. And while no one can predict when exactly international travel will return, it's certain that things will be different. Before the pandemic, airlines were experimenting with a lot of different seasonal, non-stop flights to destinations like Philadelphia, Dubrovnik, Croatia, Newark, New Jersey, to Naples, to Italy, Snyder explained. Those types of flights rely on huge masses of people traveling. We're probably going to go back to the way it used to be, connecting through big European hubs so that those routes will succeed. And this was written August 5th, 2020, and it was also created that same day. And it's in the newspaper called Air Travel Pittsburgh Airport website. And I hope you're enjoying the picture show at the same time. We'll try to move it in, because what we're looking for is the gin-like upright raccoon-faced creature that has a very orange-brown fur surrounding the body, but the main part of the face is black fur with black beady eyes. And you have to tell me what it is, because I was told that it's gin. And I did send the picture to Secure Team 10. I requested at least 5 responses from him. I sent it to Stephen Greer, and I also sent it to Third Phase of Moon. Now, by happenstance, I was on my YouTube channel on the phone, and I got a notification from Third Phase of Moon that it was doing live talk interviews. Now, my eyewitness of the 6 UFOs that I witnessed back in May of 2012 and reported immediately to the Weather Channel, then also to MUFON. But still, I didn't want to do a live program broadcast with Third Phase of Moon, or really anybody, because of the sensitivity of that information and the maybe the backlash that you could get if you admitted to seeing something that was supernatural or something that was spectacularly, out of this world. So I would listen to their programs, Secure Team 10 and Third Phase of Moon, and Stephen Greer's many thousands of disclosure programs on UFOs and UFO history. I enjoyed them all. Now, I will have to tell you that we were quite advanced in the New Kensington school system, because we did have a rocket club in elementary school, and I was a member. Also, our principal was a history enthusiast, and we got to watch the History Channel and learn all about ancient history, ancient aliens, in 3rd grade. So we're talking in the 60s, around 1968, we were being very well informed about the history of the pyramids and the different occurrences of UFO sightings, and again, the very famous acorn-shaped UFO right here in southwestern Pennsylvania. And you can look all these up on the internet. Now, I wanted to get that homework done. And I'm going to read a poem. Oh yeah, this is the Grave Creek Mound that's located in West Virginia. So, I want to read Happiness. I'm reading Happiness. Happiness is like a crystal, fair and exquisite and clear, broken in a million pieces, shattered, scattered far and near. Now and then along life's pathway, some shining fragments fall, but there are so many pieces, no one ever finds them all. You may find a bit of beauty, or an honest share of wealth, while another just beside you gathers honor, love, or health. Vain to those or grasped undully, broken is the perfect ball, and there are so many pieces, no one ever finds them all. But again, you may be able to find honor, love, and health, and find a bit of beauty, of honest, and a share of wealth. So happiness is like a crystal, fair and exquisite and clear. So that's a great poem. And here's one on inspiration. There is no author to that poem on happiness. Inspiration, yet the wise, as on thy journey, treasure every fragment clear, fit them as they may together, imaging the shattered sphere, learning ever to be thankful, though their share of it is small, for it has so many pieces, no one ever finds them all. So, Happiness, Inspiration, Priscilla Leonard. So that was the last paragraph of that poem, which I didn't know until just now. And it's written in the book of the best loved poems of the American people. So we have a lot to go over, and I wanted to go ahead back to the book, A Universal History of the United States of America, and where we left off was naming all the different names who signed the Declaration of Independence. And I'm using my tripod as a candle opera so I can see my book. So okay, oh my gosh, we're way back here. Okay, so we're going to start on 178. So this might be repetitious, but we'll get there. Also, I wanted to show you, I wanted to talk about self-care in these times that we're living in. And this is this newspaper article identifying face mask wearers. So you have the chin bra, the nose job, the Van Gogh, the sweatband, the earwig, the ZZ top look, the facelift, the conspiracy nut, and then you have a face mask in the ICU where that man he has been intubated, and that's where you as an individual are no longer able to breathe on your own, and you must have medical assistance, so you are intubated. so that you can be able to breathe. I wanted to share that with you. Some of it's funny and some of it's not, because we live in perilous times. And this is the reason why I'm putting these videos together, to share with you education and video footage so that we can learn together on all these wonderful topics that I like talking about. And I talk about things that I know about. So I have a Bachelor's of Science in Dietetics and Food Service Management. And that's why I bring up food recipes, because we need to inspire everyone to eat properly. And here's my tonic water. And tonic water is the water that contains quinine. Okay? And when you go and get a mixed drink, they might add soda water, but tonic water is the one that contains the quinine. And this water is called Fever Tree Premium Indian Tonic Water. And you could add that to a distilled spirit, like whiskey or rum. And you must be 21 to drink in the state of Pennsylvania. But I just wanted to share that with you. And I've been drinking tonic water because quinine has health beneficial, health properties that aid you in your health. And you can read that on your own. Look it up in a health resource, Wikipedia, memo. But there's no sweeteners or added sugar to the tonic water too. So, and there is 160 calories per the whole size of the bottle. This whole size of the bottle has 160 calories. So let's read about it. 0% fat, 0% sodium, 15% carbohydrate. It does have 39 grams of sugar, a total of 42 grams. And it has no protein. The ingredients are concentrated spring water. So it does have sugar, citric acid. It's very bitter. It's very bitter. Natural flavorings, including natural quinine. So it includes natural quinine. And you can look it up. So it's over 16 ounces, so 2 cups of this. So if you had only 8 ounces, then you split the sugar content by 2, and that would be 21 grams of total carbohydrate. And it's very bitter, and that's why they use it in distilled spirits, because it's very low in sugar. And this one bottle makes 3 to 4 beverages. Okay, so it's a pretty bottle. It has no artificial sweeteners. And it's made from spring water, and it has citric acid in it, but it is bitter. It'll be very bitter. Okay, so I wanted to go over that a little bit better, and that was in the news that during different problems and different eras of time of war and so forth, and we had many people that had non-healing injuries, and they would recommend quinine tonic water. Okay, so it's tonic water, not soda water, to help with the added liquid to the diet and the essential help in remedying people well. So that was something that has been recommended by physicians. Again, my show is all about talking about food and nutrition and the essential amino acids and other vitamins and so forth as discussion. I'm not recommending anything on my channel, we're discussing it. And so this is what makes my program fun, because I go from different topics of the interest that I have in my work in Victorian history, fashion, and design. And I co-authored White Buffalo Spirit, which is a love story on the actual southwestern Pennsylvania history of first American native woodland peoples. And also I wrote Pittsburgh Victorian, All That Is Gilded, and it goes over all the different wonderful theatrical productions that I have produced, and a picture show of that. There's the Gateway Clipper downtown Pittsburgh on the Allegheny, which is the Allegheny is Shawnee for the Allegheny River. This rock building is a woodland first American site. And there you have the purple rhododendron. Okay, so I want to go back to the Declaration of the Independence, and we did go over the names, and we will start on page 178 on the Universal History of the United States of America. And we are at the very top. It had blown the spark of liberty into a steady flame and prepared the minds of the people for an event to which many looked with the deepest solicitude. The spirit which lived in Congress was united by instructions from the colonies, and the country now seemed ripe for entire separation from the mother country. A resolution was moved in Congress by Richard Henry Lee and seconded by John Adams in the following words, which passed unanimously. Resolved that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, and that all political connection between them and Great Britain is and ought to be dissolved. Okay, this picture I want to mention to you, this is the art that I did on the triangle spacecraft, and the eyewitness account of 6 UFOs are in that picture. And there's other symbolic messages in that picture, so I'll discuss that on a future date. And also, I know that people are asking, how about the lilac chair? They want to know the history of my experience in the Awesomeness lilac chair that was very spacey oriented. There's the Atlas. He carried the world on his shoulder. That was in New York City. Okay, so let's get back to this. So, they want, the ties between the United Colonies and Great Britain dissolved. In defense of this motion, Mr. Lee addressed the House in a very animated strain, which he closed in the following language. Why then we no longer delay? Why still deliberate? Let this happy day give birth to the American Republic. There it is. Give birth to the American Republic. Let her arise, not to devastate and conquer, but to re-establish the reign of peace and of the laws. The eyes of Europe are fixed upon us. She demands of us a living example of freedom that may contrast by the felicity of the citizens with the ever-increasing tyranny which desolates her political shores. She invites us to prepare an asylum where the unhappy may find solace and the persecuted repose. She entreats us to cultivate a proportionous soil where that generous plant which first sprung up and grew in England, but is now withered by the poisonous blast of Scottish tyranny, may revive and flourish, sheltering under the sublubbrious and interminable shade. Sublubracious and interminable shade, all the unfortunate of the human race. This is the end, presaged by so many omens, by our first victories, by the present ardor and union, by the flight of Howe, and the pestilence which broke out amongst Dunmire's people, by the very winds which baffled the enemy's fleets and transports, and that terrible tempest which engulfed 700 vessels upon the coast of Newfoundland, if we are not this day wanting in our duty to our country, the names of the American legislators will be placed by posterity at the side of those of Theseus, Lycurgus, Romulus, and Numa, the 3 Williams of Nassau, and all those whose memory has been and will be forever dear to virtuous men and good citizens. The members of Congress from Pennsylvania and Maryland were not present. The deliberations on the subject were postponed to the 1st of July. On that day the discussion was renewed, and on the 4th of July, 1776, the report of the special committee was adopted, dissolving the allegiance of the colonies to the British Crown, and declaring them free and independent under the style of the 13 United States of America. The committee who drafted the instrument consisted of messengers Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Philip Livingston. These declarations was signed by all the members of Congress whose names and the states to which they respectively belonged were as follows. The very first signature is John Hancock, President from Massachusetts. Okay, so now we're going to go through the list, and it starts with different legislatures, and we're going to start with New Hampshire. Joshua Bartlett, William Whipple, Matthew Thornton. Massachusetts, Samuel Adams, John Adams, Robert Treat Paine, Elbridge Gerry. Rhode Island, Stephen Hopkins, William Ellery. Connecticut, Roger Sherman, Samuel Huntington, William Williams, Oliver Wolcott. Delaware, Caesar Rodney, George Reed. Maryland, Samuel Chase, William Pucka, Thomas Stone, Charles Carroll of Carrollton. Virginia, George Wythe, Richard Henry Lee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Thomas Nelson Jr., Francis Lightfoot Lee, Carter Braxton. New York, William Floyd, Philip Livingston, Francis Lewis, Lewis Morris. New Jersey, Richard Stockton, John Witherspoon, Francis Hopkinson, John Hart, Abraham Clark. Pennsylvania, Robert Morris, Benjamin Rush, Benjamin Franklin, John Morton, George Clymer, James Smith, George Taylor, James Wilson, George Ross. North Carolina, William Hooper, Joseph Hughes, John Penn. South Carolina, Edward Rutledge, Thomas Hayward, Jr., Thomas Lynch, Jr., Arthur Middleton. Georgia, Button Gwinnett, Lyman Hall, George Walton. The declaration was received by the people with transports of joy. Public rejoicings took place in various parts of the Union. In New York, the statue of George III was taken down, and the lead of which it was composed was converted into musket balls. In Boston, the garrison was drawn up in the King Street, which from that moment took the name of State Street, and the 13 salutes by the 13 detachments into which the troops were found and formed were fired. The bells of the town were rung in token of felicitation, and the evening concluded with the tearing in pieces and burning the signs of royalty, lions, scepters, and crowns. The evening concluded with the tearing in pieces and burning the ensigns of royalty, lions, scepters, and crowns. Chapter 8. The Revolution Continued, the Capture of New York. So we're still on film. I have a very archaic, antique video camera. So I'm hoping that we do good work. Now, those characters, those Walt Disney characters, they're made out of wax. And a gentleman from the Alakiski Valley, and there's the Snow White, made all those characters out of beeswax. And you can see those at the museum in Trenton. And there's Winnie the Pooh. And what did Winnie the Pooh like? Honey, which is a very good thing, because honey is healthy and good for you. I have to remind myself, add that honey to the tea. So I'm hoping this keeps going. I think that we're on a phase 2 on the video, and there's a beautiful white swan, and she's defending her territory of chicklets, and there she is swimming in the pond. So I will do another viewing of informationals that I want to share. And also, I hope you have your handy wipes. These come in all different colors and fragrances, odors. This one is sweet pea, rose water, and gardenia. So you have to work on your hygiene. You want to prevent being susceptible to disease. Always remember the 3 Ds: disease, disability, and death. So, health is very important in order for you to safeguard your life and live healthy and happy, and your well-being keeps you mentally fit. Always remember, a sound body makes a sound mind. So, self-care. I'm just going to read in the prevention book, and it's It's called Prevention, the Essential Guide to Self-Care. Hearst Company. And the date is December, look at that. Well, the date is somewhere between December 22nd and a previous time, 2020. But let's read. I was going to read the first one because I want everybody to take care of themselves, and I've worked in 5 different hospitals, and I have worked at Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh in the 80s, and then many other hospitals, but I also worked for the most severe and disabled patients. And right above the horse's mane is an orange orb. So that's a very rare picture right there. And this is near the Alcoa building where I live. Okay, so this is a letter from the editor of Hearst publication, Prevention Magazine. And there is no name, but maybe I can find it here. Okay, the editorial director is Jane Francisco. And executive managing editor is Kim Shaney. So, and it's published by Hearst. And I want to go ahead and just help you learn some health routines to help keep your health. Take care of yourself.